I tried to do $50,000 in sales on eBay part-time for 2024. That was my goal for 2024. I didn't quite hit the goal, but I got pretty damn close. I did. Bro, I'm trying to, Biggie, can I record, bro? Thank you. I did 48,000. $48,252 and 51 cents. I didn't hit the 50,000, but I'm gonna tell you what I learned. This is year 3 of me doing eBay part-time. I used to be a full-time eBay seller. That's kind of how I got in the resale industry. And years ago, I used to be a full-time eBay seller, blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't want to hear that story. 3 years ago, I did decide to jump back into eBay and I wanted to do it part-time. But I want to dig into what I did for 2024. I want to explain my strategy of how I use eBay. This is all how I do things. I'm not on here I ain't gonna try to do no how-to. I ain't gonna try to change how you do whatever it is that you do. Because what I've learned, one of the things I learned with putting out eBay content on YouTube is that it's a lot of people that it's a lot of know-it-alls. And I don't really want to come across as a know-it-all. I just want to share what works for me, what has helped me build a successful business. I want to see what I could generate on it. That's how it started. And now it's to the point where it's actually a viable little chunk of income. It's real money. And, I want to stick a little bit more effort into it. I said that last year, didn't I? I said I wanted to stick some more effort into it last year, and I did. So let me stop lying. I don't really want to stick no more effort into it. Let me stop lying. I'm happy with what it did. It didn't do the 50,000. It did 48,000 after fees. I took home about 32,000 after fees. Now the first thing somebody gonna get on this video and say is like, well, what'd you pay for the stuff? You gotta take your cost of goods out of there too. One, I'm not a rookie. I've been reselling for quite a while. I built a successful vintage store, award-winning vintage store in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I had really good success online before I walked away from doing it full time. What I do to minimize my costs for things that I put online is I buy entire estates and collections. And so a lot of what I'm buying is being sold in the number one means of getting rid of things for me, which is my store. So that means I recoup a good chunk of my cost of goods from the things that I put into my store. I geek out on certain things. Like, I don't know, I like to pay attention to certain things. Like eBay fees were about almost a third of my cost. You write that stuff off. If I can pull almost $50,000 on something part-time, you cannot have just one hustle. Reselling, you need multiple ways to get rid of stuff. 797 items I sold last year. $60.53 was the average selling price. Now I'm curious, what was my average selling price in 2023? Let's do this. Because I think in 2023 I did 70,000 on a part-time. And when I say part-time, y'all, this is the way that I do eBay. And this is kind of cool because I recently just had somebody that's been helping me out. He asked me, he's like, how many items do you got on eBay? And I'm like, I don't operate like that. I don't operate on the amount of items. I operate on time. Everything is time for me because I got it's unlimited time. This is my main focus is my store. So I can't take too much away from my store because that's my main breadwinner, right? So I have to do this on a part-time basis. So what I try to do is I try to carve out certain days a week that I'm going to do eBay. And mind you, this works for me because I only do auctions. Again, this is my thing. This is me. This is me. I may give you a different way of thinking and looking at this, but this is my experience. This is what's working for me. All right. So I take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours at the most is all I'm going to spend on one day of doing eBay. All right. I list as many items. I get as many items listed in that amount of time. When I say listed, those are items that I'm posting onto the site to sell. I sell everything in auction format. Everything starts at 99 cents, sells to the highest bidder. I'm not listing marginal items. I'm listing highly collectible items that are limited edition that people may not see again. And that's how I've been able to navigate through eBay for the last 20 years. For me, I've never been kind of a buy it now seller. If it's things that I want to put in a buy it now format, I have my own website that I can do that too. Or I put those items in my store. Everything I list on eBay is sold in an auction format so that it's guaranteed to sell. It guarantees me sales every single week. It guarantees a way that I can kind of look and I can kind of judge how much money is going to come in from this platform. Um, and that's how I do eBay. All right. So for 2023, this is what we were geeking out on. This is what I'm going back to this. So 2023, I did 71,000 doing my part-time way of doing eBay. Now that was a killer year on this path, and it made me think that I could do 100,000 doing it part-time, and I figured that out very fast in 2024 that 100,000 wasn't going to happen unless I was getting certain things. Now 2023, I had a really good collection of Bucks memorabilia, and that's what helped boost those numbers up. But in 2023, I sold 1,203 items, and my average selling price was $59.30. So I kept my average selling price about the same for 2024, but the difference is it looks like the amount of items that I sold went down. 797 compared to over 1,000. So I like to see that kind of stuff, but my average selling price was up by 2.1%. So $60.53. That's a pretty good average selling price. We did sell a couple things in fixed price. So that was a buy it now type of thing, $923.74. A lot of my stuff is first time buyers. I don't get a ton of repeat buyers. Here's the biggest thing I learned in 2024. Here's the biggest thing I learned in 2024 with eBay. My top 5 categories were all things that I enjoy, right? Hold on, I gotta let my dog out. Hold on. My top 5 categories were all things that I enjoy, things that make me happy. And this is the unpopular opinion when it comes to eBay. And I'm gonna tell you first why I feel like I'm qualified to make this kind of statement. When I first started on eBay, I owned eBay consignment business. So we sold and liquidated estates, large collections. The amount of stuff I dealt with on a daily basis, on a weekly basis in the early 2000s was vast and it was broad, right? We eventually transitioned from that to a physical auction house, right? Again, selling any and everything, just a wide variety of things. From that, we opened up a pawn shop, which allowed for even a broader spectrum of things to be brought into the mix that were being resold on eBay. Now, you do those kind of things for, I don't know, how many years did I do that? Probably 10 to 12 years. That was that span. Once I got to the end of that kind of lifestyle of buying and selling any and everything that can turn a profit, I just felt burned out, right? And so, unpopular opinion to me is that to really, really be successful in the resale industry, you got to find things that you're passionate about. When I felt the level of burnout that came from the 10 to 12 years of buying and selling any and everything at a higher volume than most resellers will ever probably reach. And we were doing a minimum of 200 online auctions on eBay a week. So that's just a lot of stuff going out. The live auctions is 400, 500 lots a month. The pawn shop, the amount of stuff coming in every day being processed. You're supposed to reinvent yourself. And when I felt the level of burnout that I was getting from buying and selling everything, I decided to open my physical brick and mortar store called BC Modern. And I wanted to focus on the things that made me happy, right? So I focused on mid-century modern furniture, mid-century modern design, toys, advertisement, local memorabilia. That's the stuff I focused on. And doing that, I started to get this level of enjoyment that I had been missing from reselling. And so I poured into that heavy. I poured into it heavy, and the store became highly successful, award winning. And when I decided to get back on eBay, I instantly went back to what it felt like to just start selling any and everything for profit. And I remember 3 years ago, that first year I did about 40,000 with my part-time plan. And I was like, oh, there's potential here, but I feel kind of weird, right? I feel like I'm a little conflicted because it wasn't as enjoyable as my quote unquote 9 to 5 now with my store. So year 2, I leaned more into the things that bring me enjoyment, toys, sports memorabilia, And it became really enjoyable to the point of $70,000 in sales enjoyable, right? So then year three, when I look at my top 5 categories for 2024, toys are 4 of the 5. Sports memorabilia is the other one. It tells me that I am in a zone now where I am comfortable and I am acknowledging that it is the best thing for me to focus on toys and sports memorabilia for eBay. It doesn't feel like work. It feels very stress free. It's enjoyable. Everything that I handle from the moment I take the picture to the moment I pack it feels like it's a privilege to do it. And that's the hunger I want to keep with this now. I don't want to go back to feeling like I have to list every day. I got to be looking for stuff every day. And when I say looking for stuff every day, you should be sourcing, right? Don't get me wrong. But what I don't want is the feeling of FOMO, right? I missed something of value. When I put videos out and people see me thrifting, they're like, oh, but you missed this, but you missed that. I don't want that feeling of missing out or feeling like I could have made a buck off of something else, right? I want to focus on the things that I know bring me enjoyment and are definitely bringing in revenue for my business. And it just feels good. If you could take anything away from this video, I would say take away the fact that there is some value, real value in getting up every day, and from the moment you start your day to the moment you end your day actually doing work that is enjoyable. That's what I got for 2024. We're going to start 2025 off focused on toys and sports memorabilia. Not saying that I won't sell other things, but when I look, like I'm looking at this, toys are still just high in my category. I sell a lot of Christmas stuff too, so that may be the other thing that becomes one of my top categories. Christmas stuff sells year round if you have good quality Christmas stuff. So that's my 2024 in a nutshell for eBay. I missed a couple months of when I was documenting every single month, but this is the end result. $48,242.51 was my total sales for 2024 on a part-time basis on eBay. I netted $32,556.98. Going forward, like I said, I'm not going to focus heavily on trying to preach or even really discussing my method of how I do eBay. If that's something you're interested in, if that's something you want me to dive more into, definitely drop it in the comments. I'm starting to feel like most people don't really care about the how-to anymore, right? They just want to hear the end result or take something from a video and apply it to what it is they're doing. And so I'm cool with that. I'll just keep showing you things that I'm doing that works for me, and hopefully you can find something in there that will work for you and help you be better. That's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead and take a look at if you did, please go ahead and take a look at some of the other ones that I did that broke down month by month numbers. And we'll get 2025 started and act before we get off of here. Let's see where we at here. 2025, last 31 days. Let's see here. 2025, we already got $2,311.30 in sales, 27 items sold. Our average selling price for this year so far is $85.60. This could be interesting, guys. All right, gotta go. Later.